Have you ever wondered why prices literally just keep going up year after year? Or why, out of nowhere, interest rates suddenly shift, completely messing with your mortgage or savings? Or maybe why some countries seem to grow incredibly fast while others just stagnate? Well, that's exactly what this explainer is here to figure out. We're going to look at the economy not as some random series of confusing events, but as a massive, deeply interconnected machine. A machine that, frankly, directly dictates your financial future. Let's get into it.
Okay, here's our roadmap for today. We're going to make sense of this sprawling topic in a highly organized and manageable way. We've got 5 sections. 1, the big picture. 2, the reality of inflation. 3, fiscal and monetary policy. 4, the global connection. And finally, 5, measuring the economy.
Okay, let's dive into this with section 1, the big picture.
So think about it like this. If microeconomics is you agonizing over the price of your favorite morning coffee, macroeconomics is zooming way out. It's asking, why is the price of literally everything in your city suddenly surging? We aren't looking at individual shoppers or single companies today. We're zooming all the way out to look at entire nations, millions of people, and the massive tectonic plates that shift our whole financial landscape.
And when we zoom out like that, what we see is this massive, continuous loop. It's like a giant engine. Companies produce goods and they pay wages, right? Well, those wages become income. Households take that income and spend it, creating the demand that tells companies to produce even more. It feeds itself. But here's the catch. It's a remarkably fragile ecosystem. If just one part slows down, say a scary news headline spooks consumers and spending drops, well, confidence falls, companies pull back, wages drop, and the entire system feels the impact.
Moving right along to section 2, the reality of inflation. Let's look at the friction that can slow down or heat up our economic engine.
Now, what's really interesting about this is that people so often mistake inflation for just high prices. But true inflation, it's a persistent, ongoing increase that actively eats away at your money's purchasing power over time. It's not just a temporary spike at the gas pump, it's a chronic condition. So, you know that old idea that sitting on a pile of cash is playing it safe? Well, in an inflationary environment, the number in your bank account might stay exactly the same, but its real-world value is actively shrinking. Holding cash for long periods is actually incredibly risky.
Ever notice how the official inflation numbers on the evening news almost never match your actual grocery bill? Yeah, there's a reason for that. The official Consumer Price Index, or CPI, tracks an average household basket of goods. But let's be real. If a massive chunk of your personal income goes to specific things like rent and electricity, and those prices absolutely skyrocket, your personal inflation rate is quietly running much, much higher than whatever the national average says.
So where does all this upward pressure actually come from? Well, it boils down to 4 main drivers. It can be demand-driven, basically too many dollars chasing too few goods, or it can be supply-driven, like when energy or supply chain shocks make producing goods wildly expensive. Then you've got the monetary side, which happens when central banks print money faster than the economy creates value. But you want to know the most dangerous force? Expectations. Inflation is deeply psychological. If you expect prices to go up, you buy right now. If workers expect higher costs, they demand higher wages. It literally becomes this dangerous, self-reinforcing cycle.
Which brings us to section 3, fiscal and monetary policy. Time to meet the mechanics who actually manage and steer this massive machine. And this brilliantly illustrates how we actually control this thing. We basically have 2 main levers. On one side, the government controls fiscal policy, managing taxes and spending on things like infrastructure to shape the economy. On the flip side, an independent central bank controls monetary policy. They don't build bridges, instead, they manage interest rates and the money supply, trying their absolute best to maintain price stability.
Now, when a recession hits, governments often use that fiscal policy lever to spend way more than they collect, creating a budget deficit. Think of it like a financial adrenaline shot to support demand. And it works, but there's a trap here. If you borrow too much and rely on that adrenaline too often, you build up massive debt. And eventually, a huge ballooning chunk of taxpayer money has to go just toward paying the interest on that debt, which can severely cripple the government's ability to invest and potentially even lead to a full-blown fiscal crisis.
Let's zoom out even further. Section 4, the global connection. Let's see how our domestic engine links up to other international machines around the globe.
Let's move to and see how this builds into the broader world, because of course, no economy operates in a vacuum. The bridge between domestic and global machines is currency. In a floating exchange rate system, market supply and demand entirely dictate the value of a currency, which is exactly why your international vacation might suddenly get cheaper or way more expensive. But in a fixed system, governments artificially peg their currency's value. This requires their central bank to constantly intervene, buying or selling foreign reserves just to keep the ship steady.
Now, this exchange of goods across borders creates our trade balance. And you know, politicians love to get up on a podium and say a trade surplus is automatically good and a trade deficit is automatically bad. But actually, it's just not that simple. For example, a country running a trade surplus might still be struggling with really weak domestic demand. On the flip side, a rapidly developing nation might run a massive trade deficit specifically because it's importing heavy capital goods to grow its future infrastructure. So context is absolutely everything.
And remember, money doesn't just sit still. Capital flows across borders hunting for returns and safety. Let's isolate the math here for a second. Imagine a rock-solid, super safe country offers a 3% return on its bonds, but a bond in a riskier, emerging country offers 8%. Well, that 5% difference, that is the risk premium. It's literally the extra interest that investors demand to compensate for the anxiety of lending to a riskier borrower.
All right, final section, Section 5, Measuring the Economy. Time to check the dashboard and the metrics we use to check the overall health of our machine.
So with all these moving parts, how do we actually know if our economic machine is performing well? Well, we check gross domestic product, or GDP. But you gotta beware of the illusion of nominal GDP. It just measures production value at current prices. So it might look on paper like the economy is absolutely booming, but it might just be that prices went up without a single extra item actually being produced. The true economic scoreboard you want to watch is real GDP, because that strips away inflation to show us actual, tangible growth.
So the crucial point is really understanding this simple math. Let's say a country celebrates an apparent 10% jump in their nominal GDP. Obviously, politicians are going to cheer. But if inflation was running at 8% that year, well, you have to subtract all that hot air. Their real GDP growth, the true increase in economic wealth, is actually only 2%. Like I said, real GDP is the ultimate lie detector.
But of course, growth is never just a straight line upwards. Economies expand and economies contract. Which brings us to a really vital question. Why exactly do recessions happen?
Well, it happens because of the business cycle. It's this natural rhythm of the economy. Think of an expansion phase. Things are great. But eventually, the economy overheats or faces some kind of unexpected shock, leading to a slowdown. Now, if spending drops and confidence falls, resulting in an economic contraction that lasts for at least 2 consecutive quarters, we officially cross into a formal recession. Fear sets in, spending freezes up. But economies are resilient, usually aided by central banks slashing interest rates to make borrowing cheaper. Confidence slowly starts to return. Spending thaws out, we enter a recovery phase, and before you know it, the machine starts humming once again.
And that's the big takeaway here. Macroeconomics isn't just some dry theory. It is literally the interconnected system you live in every single day. By keeping an eye on an economic calendar, tracking inflation reports, GDP numbers, and those big central bank decisions, you empower yourself to navigate your personal finances and anticipate the currents before they hit your wallet. So armed with his new